right, let's call this regular meeting of the Spanish Fort City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith is absent tonight. Gustafson.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
J.R. Smith.
Here.
Brabner. Mayor.
I am here. Our invocation and pledge will be led by our city attorney, David Connor. If you'll please rise.
Father, we thank you for everything you give us, and we thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. And most of all, Father, we thank you for loving us. We thank you for your grace and your mercy that you extend to us every day. I thank you for each person that's on this council and each person that's in this city that gives of their time to work for this community. And Father, I ask that you bless them and their families a special way this time of year. Also, those people that are first responders, the fire department that's newly joined the city, police department, all those people that help us when we need the help the most. We ask that you bless them and their families that are willing to come out at times of night when we're in need. Thank you for those persons that protect our freedoms every day. Most importantly, Father, we just thank you for the day-to-day things that we take for granted. Tonight, when it gets cold, we're not looking for a place to sleep or lay our heads. Father, we're not looking for food. We're not looking for water. And Father, we just ask that you bless us. Those people that are, Father, that you give them special help tonight. Help them find comfort. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. I'll ask for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, work session December 5th, 2022, and the regular meeting December 5th, 2022. Are there any corrections? If not, stand approved as written. Reports of committees and officers. Ms. Gaines?
No further report.
Mr. Connor?
No further reports.
I believe we started to add a junior council report. Mr. Gustafson?
Yes, the Junior City.
I remembered, believe it or not.
The Junior City Council, let me get back to my notes here. The Junior City Council met this past Monday, and really at this point we're talking projects. Some of the projects that were discussed were participation in a potential dog park. Also in the environmental side of things, we discussed tree planting and in various places throughout the city. Other parts were cleaning up roadways and really possibly adopting Jimmy Faulkner as a potential cleanup site. And then last but not least, increasing social media presence. And those things are all underway and being discussed. So each one has a committee, and I believe that we're going to start seeing some things really happen in earnest just after the first of the year.
Great. I believe you also have set up, and Becky or Carl, y'all can both tell me, they're going to start having a work session in addition to their regular meeting. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So the council will know, and the people that may be viewing online would know?
That is one of the things that I encourage them to do. Right now, they're only meeting once every second Monday of the month prior to planning and zoning, but that really didn't leave them a whole lot of space to discuss some of the projects that they were working on. So therefore, it was encouraged. I've encouraged them to meet another time and just have it be a work session. And so therefore, their work session will be the last Monday of every month. So the City Hall will be busy every Monday night.
You know, I look forward to those months that we have 5 Mondays, so I'll have one off. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that report. Chief Barber? Chief Hugh? Mr. Tucker? Thank you all for what you do. Open the floor for public participation. Anybody like to address? Mr. Cooper, now's your chance. Come on now. All right. Under announcements, sit back. We got a few of them. Congressman Jared Carl recently sent out a survey to Spanish Fort residents asking for feedback about our postal service. Please check your email and fill out that survey. If you did not receive a survey, please send your comments to jerry.curl@mail.house.gov. It is important that Congressman and staff receive your feedback. A little update on that. I brought you up to speed at the work session, but for the sake of our viewers, we have Congressman Curl has received 400 answers to surveys and comments, of which they forwarded to the Postal Service. The Postal Service in turn are supposed to respond in writing to Congressman Curl. So naturally, during this holiday season, you probably won't hear anything from them, but at least we know where things are and where things are moving. So we will continue to push for this. I think we all in agreement that the post office is needed here in Spanish Fort. So Christmas tree recycling will be available at Fire Station Number 1, located at 7580 Spanish Fort Boulevard. A roll-off dumpster for the placement of trees will be located on the east side of the property, beginning, I believe, next week, and will be in place through January 13th of 2023. The city will be partnering with Waste Pro to place roll-off dumpsters at Spirit Park, located at the end of Emily Francis Lane, beginning on December 19th and continuing. Did that get placed today? Did anybody notice? Eddie, have you noticed? Becky, have you? Email Waste Pro if you would. It's supposed to be placed today, continuing through January 3rd for the purpose of recycling paper and cardboard generated from the holidays. Other forms of trash should not be placed in these dumpsters. You know, this is something Waste Pro does for our city at no cost to our city, and if we start putting waste and household goods and things like that in there, it's going to be ruin it for everybody. So please, please make sure it's just cardboard and wrapping paper. The Spanish Fort Community Center will be closed for the Christmas holidays on December 23rd and December 26th. Spanish Fort Public Library will also be closed on Christmas Eve, December 24th. Community Center will be closed on January 2nd for the New Year's holiday, and the library will be closed on December 31st for New Year's Eve. Becky, I don't see an update on here, and I should have caught this, about Waste Pro's schedule for the holidays. Yeah, it does. It continues for Christmas. Good. Okay, great. No changes on Waste Pro. Great. City Council meeting, the work session, which would regularly be held on Monday, January 2nd, will be held on Tuesday, January 3rd. Work session will begin at 4:30. City Council meeting will follow at 6 p.m.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Since the next council would be on the 16th, which is Martin Luther, are we going to move it to the 17th as well? So that in January, both meetings are on Tuesday.
Falls on a holiday, we'll have to do it that way. Want to take, at this point, wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you, council, for what you do all year long. Thank you, department heads, staff members, city attorney, Chief Few, Chief Barber, all firemen, policemen. Mr. Tucker, you and your department, Becky, everybody you have here, want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and thank you for your dedication through the years. It has been duly noted, and hopefully we take care of everybody in that way. Okay, I also want to thank everyone, city employees, and a lot of other people for the Christmas parade. Our staff did an outstanding job. Ms. Tucker and Becky, your staff. If I start naming them, I'm sure I'll forget some. For the parade, for the tree lighting, the book reading. Of course, Lori Connor is so instrumental in that. She does an outstanding job, and we bless her every year to have her, even though we have to put up with her husband sometimes. Lori does a great job with that. It was a well-attended event. His room was jam-packed, and it was another great event. It's probably a lot of people's favorite event of the city. So thank you, everyone, for this time of the year. It's a lot of demands on your time, a lot of effort on everybody to pull that all together. So Those are all great events that the city does. Moving forward, there is no old business. We have quite an agenda tonight, so sit back and have some popcorn and enjoy the evening. On the new business, we have ordinance number 613, 2022, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort. David?
Mayor, this proposed ordinance would amend the ordinance, zoning ordinance of the city of Spanish Fort to remove warehouse, storage, and distribution facilities as a use allowed in B4 with planning commission approval. It would remove that use and leave warehouse facilities in M1 district by right. The planning commission held a public hearing on November 14 and forwards a positive recommendation for this zoning amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 613-2022.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 615, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama, changing zoning classification of certain property located at 30255 Broken Branch Circle, Spanish Fort, Alabama, from R1 to B3. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this property is located at 32055 Broken Branch Circle and is described as Lot 12 Woodside Business Park. That's on Highway 31 at the easternmost portion of the corporate limits of the city. This property came in under the last legislative act for annexation and came in as R1. The property owner has requested that the property be rezoned from R1 to B3, which is consistent with the property uses in that area and that proposed business park. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 12 and forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Would like to announce that we'll have a public hearing on this item Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 616, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama, changing the zoning classification of certain property located at 30362 Highway 181, Spanish Fort, Alabama, from R1 to B3. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this piece of property is described as Lot 1 according to Malbus Business Park Unit 1. The property is located at the western portion of the Eastern Shore Center along Highway 181. It's occupied presently by Verizon, Starbucks, and a couple of other small stores in that center. At that location, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 12 and forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request. The property came in, I want to say about 10 years ago now, by local legislative act as R1, and they're requesting it to be zoned to B3 General Business District.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? I'd like to announce that we have a public hearing on this item, be held January 3rd, 2023, at the city council meeting. Hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 617, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, as part of the committee estate, individual members of that family are requesting that their property be annexed into the corporate limits of the city, and also requesting that they be pre-zoned in accordance with 11-5285 of the Code of Alabama, which requires a hearing in front of the Planning Commission and also a hearing at the City Council level to determine what the zoning classification should be upon annexation into the city. This covers a piece of property owned by Carroll E. Cometti Jr. He's requesting that the property be rezoned to B3, or be zoned, pre-zoned to B3, and upon its annexation that the B3 classification will be provided. This is a 7.64 acre piece of property located west of the CVS Pharmacy and Faulkner Drive on Highway 31.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. I'd like to announce we have a public hearing to be held Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 618, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, Perry A. Lee and Royce Lee own certain property located along Cometti Lane. It's approximately .71 acres, and they have likewise requested that this property be pre-zoned to B3 General Business District. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for this pre-zoning request.
Any discussion from the council? I'd like to announce that we'll have a public hearing on this item Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 619, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, Kimberly Cometti Manley owns approximately 4.17 acres in the same general area of this property, located west of the CVS Pharmacy and Faulkner Drive. She has requested that this property be rezoned upon its annexation to B3 General Business District. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for that pre-zoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. In case you can't tell, we're going to have a lot of public hearings on January 3rd. This also will be one of those, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. Moving to ordinance number 620, 2021, an ordinance 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 Central General Business District. Mr. Connor.
Kimberly F. Pitts Manley owns approximately 1 acre in this same general area along Cometti Lane. She has likewise requested that the property be pre-zoned to B3 General Business District, and the Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for that pre-zoning request.
By the time we get through with all of them, you'll have it right, I'm sure. Any discussion from the council? This also will be held for a public hearing Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 621, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing the zoning classification of certain property described as tax parcel numbers 05, 32, 05, 22, 0, 0, 0, 0, 080.009, and 05, 32, 22, 0, 0, 0, 0, 080.008, and located at 3815 Spanish Fort Boulevard from R1 to B3.
Mayor, these two parcels.
9815 Spanish Fort Boulevard. What did I say? Listen, there's so many numbers there. Get it right.
Mayor, these two parcels were annexed into the corporate limits of the city in the last local legislative act this summer. They came in as R1. They are also located in its Cometti family property. In that same general area, they're requesting that this property be rezoned from R1 to B3. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for that rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Come January 3rd, we'll have a public hearing on this item to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. Moving to ordinance number 622, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this property is owned by Perry A. Lee, and he has requested that the property be pre-zoned in accordance with Section 11-52-85. There are two parcels of property consisting of approximately 2.02 acres in the same general area we've been talking about along Committee Lane. It's requested that the property be rezoned to B3 General Business District, and the Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for that pre-zoning.
Any discussion? I'd like to announce that Tuesday, January 3rd, we'll have a public hearing on this item to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 623, 2023, an ordinance annexing certain property into the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama. David?
And Mayor, based on the pre-zoning request, Carroll E. Cometti Jr. has filed a petition with the city of Spanish Fort requesting that his 7.64 acres in that area be annexed into the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort, conditioned upon B3 zoning. A copy of the petition, the legal description, and the map showing the relationship of the property to the corporate limits of the city is attached to the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This is the first reading and will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to ordinance number 624, 2023, an ordinance annexing certain property in the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, Perry A. Lee and Royce Lee, certain property owners of a piece of property located adjacent to Committee Lane, approximately .71 acres, have requested that their property be annexed into the corporate limits of the city with the conditional zoning of B3. And the proper copy of the legal description, petition, and map are attached as an exhibit to their ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? This is the first reading and will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to ordinance number 625, 2023, an ordinance annexing certain property in the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor Kimberly Cometti Manley has filed a petition with the city of Spanish Fort requesting that her property be annexed into the corporate limits of the city, conditioned upon B3 zoning upon its annexation. This is approximately 4.17 acres located in the same general area as the previous property we've discussed tonight.
Any discussion from the council? This also will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to ordinance number 626, 2023, an ordinance annexing certain property in the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor Kimberly F. Pitts Manley has filed a petition with the city requesting that her 1 acre parcel in this same general area along Committee Lane or adjacent thereto be annexed into the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. A copy of the petition, a legal description of the property, and a map is attached as an exhibit to the ordinance.
Any discussion from the council? This will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to ordinance number 627, 2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the non-exclusive franchise granted to Waste Pro of Alabama, Inc. for the purpose of providing collection and disposal of residential refuse within the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this proposed ordinance would extend the franchise granted to Waste Pro for the provision of collection and disposal of residential refuse for an additional year. The existing contract expires on December 31, 2023. They have requested that the term be extended a year for a period of a year. Attached is a proposed amendment to that agreement extending that term, but also in addition to allowing for an extension of time, it also allows for the city, based on circumstances, to increase the rate per month that is allowed to be charged. They have requested a rate of $18.95 per residential unit per month. The previous rate was $16.58 a month. They have also requested, based on the recycling markets and the volume or lack thereof produced by the city at this time, and its cost to transport it to Pensacola, to discontinue recycling at each individual home pickup at this time. The city reserves the right to reinstate recycling if Baldwin County Solid Waste establishes a recycling program. There has been some discussion of that. And Mayor, I believe you also may have some additional information. They're still going to provide dumpsters for recycling, but if you don't mind covering that, that would be great.
Certainly. Mr. Connor is accurate. As you all know that we have recycling areas behind the old city hall, which is adjacent to Kids Park. There's also some recycling at Five Rivers on the causeway that will continue to take the plastics, the cardboard, the newsprint, the aluminum cans, those things. So curbside will be affected here. The markets and the volume at Spanish Fort, it's only 161 people in the city of Spanish Fort that participates in the recycling program. It does not generate enough volume to warrant running a truck to Pensacola every week, which is the only recycling area in this, or facility within this area. There is conversation with the county about building one at Magnolia Landfill. Hence, we want to reserve the right to start this back up if and when that was an opportunity for us to take volume up. I wish, and I'm being on my soapbox here a little bit, I really wish the state would make this mandatory like Florida does. Therefore, it would generate enough to warrant it for everybody, but as it stands right now, it's not that way. So it's not advantageous for Waste Pro or the citizens of Spanish Fort to have recycling. As far as the increase, we all know it's gone up. I have verified from numerous other cities around us their rates, and it is higher than what this new rate would be from Waste Pro. So that's my 2 bits on this. Any discussion from the council?
Currently, we're paying $49.74 a quarter, and the new would be $56.88 a quarter for $7.14 more per quarter.
Okay. Further discussion? This also will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to Resolution 1271, 2022, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Spanish Fort to enter into an agreement for the acquisition of certain real property located within the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the city's been in discussions with Cypress Equities regarding the donation of certain property located at the Spanish Fort Town Center. They have requested certain restrictive covenants be placed on the property that we are still negotiating. And so at this point in time, we're close, but we should hopefully have that at our next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion on this item? This will be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to Resolution 1283, 2022, a resolution ordering the abatement of public nuisance at 30722 Cemetery Road, Spanish Fort, Alabama. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this property is owned by Myra K. White, and it is occupied by Robin Smith at 30722 Cemetery Road. On October 4, the building official issued a notice of violation pursuant to ordinance number 246, 2006, and set a time frame within which the items that constitute a public nuisance would have to be removed and abated from the property. At November 21st, 2022 City Council meeting, the building official testified under oath as to the condition of the property, and Ms. Smith also testified regarding the condition of the property. The City Council determined at that hearing, based on the information provided by the building official, that it did constitute a public nuisance. The ordinance requires that the city have written findings in the form of a resolution regarding the nuisance, and Section 1 states that the City Council of the City of Spanish Fort hereby finds that the property located at 30722 Cemetery Road has overgrown weeds, tall grasses, accumulation of trash, construction material and debris, junk and inoperable vehicles and equipment, and accumulation of excess items which create a breeding ground for vermin, pests, and mosquitoes, and the yards have various household items, lumber, equipment, and other debris piled up in violation of applicable laws, rules, and regulations, including but not limited to ordinance number 246, 2006, and the zoning ordinance. And it also notes that they've incorporated at the hearing the documents, notice of violation letters, photographs made a part of the record. Section 2, the City Council hereby finds that the conditions on the property constitute a public nuisance in violation of ordinance number 246, 2006. Section 3 orders that the nuisance be abated by the building official or his designee, including a third-party contractor, being authorized to enter the premises and take all necessary action to abate the nuisance. A certified copy of this resolution, together with any abatement agreement entered into by the city, is required to be forwarded to the property owner of the property, and then upon completion of the abatement, the building official reports the cost of abatement back to the city council for a hearing and determination of the cost and the possible filing of a lien as it relates to that property in accordance with the ordinance.
Question I had, just sort of reading through section 4, certified copy of this resolution forwarded to the owner. How will we notify the occupant?
I would suggest we do it the same way, certified mail, like we did before.
So don't we need to add that to this?
The only reason we didn't is the statute ordinance doesn't say that, but we should, and if you want to add that, we certainly can.
If anyone is inclined to make that motion, if they please include that to make sure that the occupant, you know, this is a piece of property that has been an issue within the city for quite some time. We, several years have been after the occupant to clean it up a little bit, and we get somewhere and then it goes back the other way. It's not fair to the people on Cemetery Road to have that in their neighborhood. So I know Mr. Tucker did inspect the site today, furnished all the council pictures, and there's really been no change from the last meeting 2 weeks ago. So this is not something we like to do, but it's certainly something that the council has to move forward on some things like this occasionally. Any discussion from council?
Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I may have misspoke when I said to the owner. If you look in section 5, it says to the interested parties entitled to receive notice under section 5.3, and that includes the owner and the occupant.
Okay, so we don't need to change
Yes, sir.
anything. Just want to make sure. Any further discussion on Resolution 1283, 2022?
I want to say that I have heard some of the stuff that you've heard. I mean, we're hearing of rats, we're hearing of snakes, we're hearing of a lot of different things that the neighbors are having to deal with, and it's rather unfortunate. I wish we didn't have to deal with this, but we cannot leave the rest of the residents on Cemetery Road to deal with these effects of this debris out in the yard.
I'll just say that I kept some of the previous pictures here in my mailbox, and I don't see a lot of difference between the pictures that you took today and the pictures from several weeks ago. I don't see where there's been much, if any, improvement.
All right, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 1283, 2022.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1284, 2022, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for engineering services between the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama, and Dewberry Engineers, Inc. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Dewberry Engineers, Inc. to identify wetlands on lots 6 through 10, Caisson Trace, and provide a report to the city. A copy of the proposed agreement is attached as Exhibit 1, and the amount of the contract is $1,050.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This is an ongoing project that we have in that area to improve some drainage situations, but we have to identify the wetland areas first. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Resolution 1284-2022.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1286, 2022, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Spanish Fort and LifeScan Wellness Centers. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this proposed agreement with LifeScan Wellness Centers is to provide required yearly physicals for certified paid firefighters for the Spanish Fort Fire Department. A copy of the proposed agreement is attached as Exhibit 1, and the amount for each scan is $600.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? This is all part of our merging with the fire department, and the contract is in place with them that need to get in the city's name. So, any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 1286-2022.
Second.
Stay with the city.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1287, 2022. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for accounting and auditing services between the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama and Viso Group. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with the Viso Group to perform the annual audits for the city of Spanish Fort, the Cooperative Improvement District, Highway 181 public facilities, and the Cooperative Improvement District, City of Spanish Fort, Highway 98 public facilities. A copy of the proposed agreements are attached as Exhibit A through B and C, subject to any changes approved by the mayor.
Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 1287-2022.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1287, 2022 or 2023, whichever number it's going to be. Huh? What'd I say? Just way too much on this agenda and too much being carried over. 1288, 2023. Are we sure? All right. So Resolution 1288, 2022 states that a resolution declaring an emergency and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract to perform emergency pipe and asphalt repairs on Bull Run. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Sunset Contracting, Inc. for the repair of a concrete pipe beneath the roadway and repair the asphalt overlay on Bull Run in accordance with the proposal attached as Exhibit 1. The estimated cost of the repairs is $20,100. This is being done on an emergency basis because of the potential impact on property and persons and safety. It is also below the bid law requirements of $50,000 for public works, so it can also be authorized under that purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Unfortunately, we've got some aging infrastructure that occasionally shows its ugly head, and this was one of them that showed that we had to move forward on. So I ask for a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration.
Motion to suspend.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, to have a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt resolution number 1288-2022.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1289, 2022, a resolution. I'd like to go back and introduce Resolution 1289, 2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Spanish Fort and Avenue Insights and Analytics for tax collecting services. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Avenue Insights and Analytics LLC for tax collection services related to the collection of the city's sales tax and other various taxes that are collected by the city of Spanish Fort. That agreement is attached as Exhibit 1. We also have a separate agreement that's attached as Exhibit 2 for purposes of business license discovery and recovery for those persons or entities that are required to pay business license but are not paying them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This is being introduced tonight and will be on your January 3rd agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1290, 2023, a resolution establishing paid holidays for eligible city employees and staff for the 2023 calendar year. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the personnel manual establishes the paid holidays for each year for employees in addition to vacation time and sick leave time. This resolution actually establishes the dates corresponding with those days for this upcoming calendar year.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This also be on your January 3rd agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1291, 2023, a resolution awarding the bid for resurfacing various streets within the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a continuation of the city's repair, maintenance, and resurfacing of streets within the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. This is for the resurfacing of General Canby Lane and Wildflower Trail. The lowest responsive bid was submitted by Bay Area Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $232,371. A copy of the proposed agreement is attached as Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? This being introduced tonight will be on your January 3rd agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1292, 2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor to issue a request for proposals for investment banking firms to act as an underwriter, to take other actions with respect to the issuance of the city general obligation warrants, Series 2023 warrants, and to provide a reimbursement for certain costs and expenses. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, in order to address the needs of the city presently and also looking into the future, your office and administration and the city council have established a list of projects that need to be constructed in the corporate limits of the city, including repair and maintenance, including but not limited to Fire Station Number 1, public parks and recreation expansion, maintenance and improvements, storage facilities for the fire department, proposed dog park, master planning for facilities and parks, and any and all costs and expenses related thereto. This would authorize the mayor to seek investment bankers to act as underwriters for the Series 2023 warrants, which are estimated to be somewhere around $15 million to accomplish all of those improvements. It would also authorize, with respect to the 2023 warrants, a preliminary offering statement to be prepared and to be approved by the mayor, subject to approval by the city council prior to its issuance. Also, it establishes a reimbursement provision that allows for work to begin prior to the issuance of the bonds, so that the city deems it necessary to start work using general funds that can be reimbursed in accordance with applicable IRS rules and provisions. In addition, Section 5 authorizes the mayor to execute a purchase agreement related to the bonds, subject to the approval of the city council prior to its becoming effective, in order to help assist with the issuance of the bonds going through the process.
That was a mouthful. Of course, this agenda's been a mouthful tonight. You know, this is an opportunity for us to move the city forward. We've all identified projects in our city that are needed for the future of our city. As Ms. Connor mentioned, a few of the projects, Fire Station Number 1, build a new fire station where we can actually have bunk areas for people to be there 24/7. Improving everything about that is on some property that the city has already acquired, catty corner from City Hall. You know, part of the growth is we need more buildings in our city. So, you know, our public works have been suffering for a number of years about not having a true public works facility. We'll take the old fire station, make that a public works facility after we open Fire Station Number 1. We have identified other needs within our city, including additional soccer fields and a baseball field out at Integrity Park, which we're calling Phase 2 of Integrity. It also will include expansion of parking areas, because we all know that but we need more parking out in that area. We've already undertaken, or this council's moved forward with moving forward Spirit Park renovations, because we are on a time restraint trying to get all that done, because youth ball will be cranking up here come February, so we're trying to move that project forward. That's this part of this that has to do with the reimbursement clause. We have been very much aware of the growth and requests for pickleball in our city, so this will also allow us to move forward with some constructions of pickleball courts. We have some needs for additional storage, of which we have property on J Drive, which will build a facility out there for storage of some items. We also have heard loud and clear from a lot of people about the need for a dog park in our city. This will move forward with building a dog park on some city property that we own on Huckleberry Lane, which is adjacent to Spirit Park, to take care of our friends, four-legged friends out there. Continued growth we have as a city, Fire Station number 4 located on Doleaf Road. We need to develop a master plan for a training center out there and a station, so there's funding included for that. Also, as the council is aware, public is aware, I believe, we've acquired 144 acres on Highway 225 at Bay Minette Creek for a future facility for family-friendly picnic areas, walking trails, those kind of things, that has formerly been known as Cypress Point. Be moving forward with developing a master plan for that growth out there. This will include funding for that. So there's a lot of projects on here that, you know, we've been fortunate and blessed in our city to move forward on these things, on a lot of projects on short-term loans, but these are some that are going to require long-term financing. We always have strived not to extend our financing past the needs of where we are. For example, firehouses will be here more than 50 years. So, you know, this is not a 50-year bond. Don't take that the wrong way, but we don't like to finance things outside the useful lifespan. So these are all projects that have been identified to move forward. We're very fortunate in our city. While we have a little bit of long-term debt, the only long-term debt we have at this point is our facility here, which is our house note. I'm very proud of this council. We had a $7.9 million budget for this facility. We brought it in at $7.4 million. Is a 15-year house note, of which we're 8 years into it, so we're on the downhill side of that one. Only other long-term debt we have is at the Eastern Shore Center, which has been a very good investment for our city. It generates substantial income and pays for itself with the license fees out there. That, don't hold me exactly to the dollar number, but basically we've got a year and a half left to 2 years left on that note, of which we have cash reserves of over $1 million out there that we could apply to terminating that loan quicker than what we need to. So, and that the license fees out there do generate more than enough to, as you know, the council is well aware, we're redoing all of the roads out there, which is generated from license fees and the medians at the Eastern Shore Center. So that has proven to be very beneficial to our city, and we'll be able to cancel that long-term debt in the very near future. So these are opportunities that I see we need as a city for the next few years to move us forward in the manner of which we all see the growth of our city moving forward. That's enough from me. Any discussion from the council on that? We will have, this will be on your January 3rd agenda. I invite any comments, pro or con or whatever, to come to us so we can look at this. We've been kicking this around for a long time, and it's time that we move forward on some type of project. Moving to Resolution 1293, 2023, a resolution amending the personnel manual of the City of Spanish Fort, Alabama. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed amendment to Article 13, Section A4 of the Personnel Manual to address how and under what circumstances college degrees or master's degrees are compensated for city employees. And it states that an employee who possesses an associate's degree at the commencement of employment, again, let me start this over. Employees who attain additional education requirements above their position description. If they obtain a associate's degree at the commencement of their employment or after they're here, they would be entitled to a one-step increase in their respective pay grade. Upon the completion of a bachelor's degree, employees previously receiving an associate's degree would be entitled to an additional step increase on the pay grade. Employees who earn a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree, without first having earned a 2-year degree, would be entitled to a 2-step increase, so that at the end of the receipt of a bachelor's degree, whether you got an associate's degree or not, those employees would have the same pay based on the level of degree they have. And if you receive a master's degree or higher, after receiving a bachelor's, you would also be entitled to a 1-step increase.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This is being introduced tonight, will be on your January 3rd agenda. And Becky, if we don't add anything else to that January 3rd agenda, we still gonna have a big agenda.
I'm not the one who adds things.
And I will add some before now. Before then, I can assure you that. Just okay, moving to that'll be on your January 3rd agenda. Moving to Resolution 1294, 2023, a resolution disposing of surplus property. Mr. Connor.
ALA Code Section 11-43-56 authorizes the municipal governing body to dispose of unneeded personal property. In this case, there are certain miscellaneous office furniture in the form of chairs, desks, and tables that are no longer needed for municipal purposes. This would authorize the mayor and city clerk to dispose of those items as deemed necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This also will be on your January 3rd agenda. Any other business come before the council tonight? Certainly want to tell everyone Merry Christmas. One other quick update. I did speak with the engineer record for the Eastern Shore Center project. While it has taken a little bit longer than what we thought, a lot of rain days, and we're looking into, I believe the project was scheduled to end the end of December. A lot of rain days involved in that, but I did get an update so everyone would know. They will be moving forward come January 3rd with improvements of the roadways, completing all those. Then January 23rd, the demolition of the curves and the complete work of all the concrete islands, medians, lighting, all those. Final asphalt and asphalt application starting February 2nd, and permanent striping starting on February 22nd. So there is an end to that. I know it's something I'm very proud of this council did. We were able to secure that $3.9 million repair without spending city funds. So very proud of the way the council approached that one. Any other business come before the council? Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.